Mckane, and you're tuned in to the HomeBuyer's Hour on WCPT AM 820. So rise and shine, everybody. We're going to talk about real estate.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee. I know, right? And so I'm in the studio today, and I have with me my favorite attorney, my favorite real estate broker, and then remotely we got my favorite mortgage broker out there. I'm going to start with Patrick. Patrick, if you don't mind, give us the rundown on who you are and tell everyone why you're my favorite. And it has nothing to do with Costa Rica.
Hey, I'm Patrick Loftus. I'm a real estate lawyer. I handle real estate transactions. You're buying a house or selling a house, give me a shout. I'll get you sorted. Why am I your favorite? I really couldn't figure that out, to be honest. But
I know
yeah,
the answer.
we're on 820 WCPT, where facts matter.
Amen
where
to
facts
that.
matter.
I love it. Ryan, if you don't mind, how do people get a hold of you? And do you think you know why you're my favorite real estate broker?
Well, because I just found that out a few minutes ago. I think it's because of my smile, my good looks, and my humility.
Nope,
In that order.
If I had to guess.
Yeah, those are good guesses, but not accurate. Sorry.
And if anybody wants to get a hold of me, if they're looking to buy or sell real estate in Chicago and the surrounding suburbs, my phone number is 708-668-6613.
Sounds good. I appreciate that. And Joey, if you don't mind, give us the rundown on who you are and see if you know why you're my favorite.
Well, I'm your favorite because I'm speaking right now, but I am Joey Matthews.
There it is. Hold on. We need an applause for the winner there. All right. Let's
Dude, we
turn
do not use
off.
that soundboard enough.
I've been saying that a long time.
I got to get Devin back in here just to work that thing, you know?
That's a
Let's
new
go.
upgrade. That wasn't. We didn't have a soundboard the last time I was here.
Thank Devin Tingle, our producer.
Yeah,
He gives me toys to play with.
They won't let me be responsible for it because
Oh, my God. Can you imagine what would happen?
I can't be trusted.
You need to have Michael Winslow from Police Academy on just to do all the sounds.
Tell you what.
That guy. I
be
interrupted
exciting.
you. Give me your contact info again.
I
Joey.
never gave it the first time. So,
Okay, then do it the first time.
NMLS 1230694. The VA loan nerd. I love VA loans. You may have realized that if you ever listened. Find me at thevaloannerd.com, or you could call or text me at 630-235-2405. And obviously on all the social medias as at the VA loan nerd.
That was a wake-up call. My name is
Let's
Charlie
party.
Belfontaine. I own Chicagoland Home Inspectors. Our phone number is 312-544-9180. Repeating, 312-544-9180. And our website is www.thehomeinspectors.com. And Joey, we're going to talk about the spring market and how things are going. And then, of course, my favorite subject is the good and bad and the pros in the business. But tell me right now about rates and the market. And I mean, we're not Super Bowl yet. And I don't know about you, but my phone is ringing off the hook. We're booked out for the week already, and we're scheduling next week.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's been a wild time. I had 8 apps yesterday alone. I got a lot closing this month. I have plenty closing in March too. I already have some April contracts flowing in, right? So
Nice.
People are out there. People are buying. Sellers are maybe getting off the fence on selling because they're finally like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to get a 2% again. I have a family of 6 and we have a 2-bedroom house. It's time to go, right? So I've seen more activity on my end. I think that Ryan is obviously a better gauge for Chicagoland than myself because I am all over the country. In terms of the rate world, I was completely anticipating a very, very, very smooth week just because there's so little economic data coming this week.
What do you mean
whole
by
week is
smooth
weird.
week? What does that mean?
I should say since December 12th, the market has been trading the 10-year Treasury has been trading between a 3.9 and 4.1% yield. And that is still true. Up until Friday of last week, the yield was closer to 3.8%, which was, under the support level, which I like. I would have liked for it to go lower. But anyway, then the jobs report came out. And I still don't believe the jobs report. I think that with the non-seasonal adjustments, we actually lost 2 million jobs. But I mean, whatever. Data doesn't matter at the Fed level. Anywho, so the jobs report came out. We gained 50 bips in MBS, mortgage-backed securities market, which is bad for rates. So I would say in general, conventional side, you're looking like 7 on the dot within a quarter, either way, depending on your credit situation, right? And
That's
that's a
something you
loaded
say
statement,
that,
and
though.
I probably just triggered some sort of RESPA disclosure, and I apologize. And the CFPB is going to call me and find me now.
No problem. Give me some of your most hated real estate I'm sorry, your most hated mortgage brokers, and we'll go ahead and say you're them, and we'll let
I'm
those
all
guys
of those
go
guys,
after that.
yeah. So
Hey.
this is Veterans United speaking to you live. Anyway,
So no, Ryan,
But-
jump in on that. I mean, where do you see this market? And Joey just said something that has always affected my business. When I see that the rates start going up, all of a sudden our phones start ringing.
Can I just ask Joey a question really quick?
Sure.
Why is Navy
why did
Federal?
Jay Powell speak on Sunday and ruin my life?
Why is Navy Federal saying all those horrible things that could get them in trouble with the CFPB? I think I probably got that wrong. Why are they doing that, Joey?
When you say Navy Fed, are you talking about their loan denial rates for African American borrowers?
It's a shame that
There would be
that's
a RESPA
happening.
violation that we want to avoid.
It's a shame that that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a real thing. You can look that up in the news. They're in
Okay.
big trouble over that.
Oh, I'm sorry. And that's not good. It's not
Yeah.
appropriate.
Well,
Yeah.
but
And take that back. I'm not sorry. To hell with them.
Well,
I'm actually happy about
you
it.
know what? Thank you. I was about to say, shining light on things like that are going on.
Yeah.
Regardless of how big our audience is, to the tens of you out there, you need to know that these things are still happening. This isn't stuff that we didn't fix racism back in the '60s simply by passing a bunch of legislation. It's still out there, it's still pervasive, and it is still something that we need to be vigilant about. So, Joey, I'm glad that my silly joke actually led to, really an important point being made.
I couldn't agree more. But I want to hear more about the market. Ryan, jump in, please.
Yeah, so it's the market is kind of continuing its trend over the last few years of the spring market starting off extremely hot. For Chicagoland purposes, the spring market is January to June. Whenever I talk to home sellers and home buyers, I always tell them, the spring market's hot. They're like, spring, it's still cold out. There's still snow on the ground. It's because I'm in real estate. I always think of spring starting in January. So that trend is still continuing. It's as soon as people get back from their vacations and they put their Christmas decorations away, or hopefully put their Christmas decorations away after the first or second week of January, everybody goes out and starts looking at homes, and that's certainly continuing. While I was out of town in the second and third week of January, my phone was blowing up. I had people crawling out of the woodwork that wanted to go look, wanted to go sell. So that is certainly continuing. The inventory is still relatively low, and we will expect that to continue for the foreseeable future. But inventory in our market tends to peak in about April or May. And for those of you that are saying, well, I just want to wait until there's more inventory. Well, when there's more inventory, there's more buyers. So you have more competition. So with more homes comes more competition. However, I always tell people, it depends on your where you're at in your life and your own personal decisions. If you find a home that works for you, buy it. You don't need to, don't wait. It's that old cliche. You marry the home, you date the rate. Don't be too concerned about what the rates are. You can always refinance. And I always hear people freaking out about oh, if I find a house and I have a high rate, it's going to cost a lot of money to refinance. Not necessarily. It's I know a lot of lenders that basically do it for next to nothing. So if you find a home, it's better just to lock it up, get it under contract, and move forward. But certainly it also helps to have an excellent realtor to help you navigate this market, because it is highly competitive. And if you can avoid it, I tell people, if you are selling and buying, try to figure out a way where you can get your home sold before you go out and look out and buy, because when you are in a multiple offer situation, which most likely you will be, it just weakens your leverage and weakens your negotiating position if you have to sell and then buy, because you're going to be competing against a lot of buyers who don't have that home sale contingency.
I want to talk about that word leverage. All right. So something that I've been doing for like the last year and a half is Zoom calls with all of our home inspection clients where I go over the report with them. I talk about the severity that they find. I try to put prices to the repairs that are needed to be there. And I keep my nose out of what they can ask for and negotiate for.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because I'm ignorant about the amount of leverage that they have. And I share that with my client. You use that word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how does a buyer know how much leverage they have? Is there a way to figure those things out? And how do you tell them how much leverage? And I always use the word power, but I think the right term, Patrick, is it leverage?
I think it's probably a better way to describe it. Power. I mean, what does that even mean, really? But leverage,
To get what you want or make other people do what you want. That's how I see the word power.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stamp on a question that was asked to Ryan.
I'm sorry about that, Ryan. Please.
Well, it's kind of obviously talking to your realtor, if they know what they're doing, they will be able to tell you, hey, these are certain things you can ask for. When I'm talking to my buyers and I'm educating my buyers, you have to look at the whole situation. One, if they have multiple offers, the sellers are going to be less inclined to want to deal with inspection requests. However, if you focus on the items that certainly have to be repaired, that they're going to have to deal with no matter who buys the home, like asbestos, mold. Those are usually the big ones.
Water leaks,
radon. Radon's kind of some people don't are willing to look past it, while others will definitely want to have it mitigated. But the other good thing is once you are under contract with a home, if there are major issues like that and you end up having to cancel, the seller's got to go back on the market, and if they have multiple offers, they have to go back to those other buyers, but they're going to know that it fell apart due to inspection items, and the seller doesn't necessarily need to disclose everything that's on the report unless they receive the copy of it. But the buyers are going to know that, hey, this obviously fell apart because of some sort of inspection issue, and it's going to be in the back of their mind. So you do have, even though if you are in a multiple offer situation, if you do have a slightly weakened leveraging position when there are multiple offers. However, that seller and all the other buyers know that, hey, there were some items found on the inspection report that caused this deal to fall apart. And depending on what that seller's situation is, that seller might be under contract for their own home purchase. So they just want to keep this train rolling, and they want to go home with the one who brung them, and they don't want to have to start the process all over again. So you have to kind of look at the situation holistically and just determine, okay, what can we do? What can we ask for? And most sellers, even in a multiple offer situation, if you just ask for a reasonable credit, they're usually willing to do that. It's when you ask for an exorbitant amount, or you're asking for repairs like, what's the light or the
GFI.
The GFI outlets. If you're asking for GFI outlets, things of that nature, they're gonna be less likely to work with you on that.
Yeah, I think that the one thing that is you're really always going against the seller is time, right? The buyer has money, and
The seller wants the money,
right? But once you go under contract, it's going to be a good 2 weeks before you figure out that it's not going to work with this buyer, or the buyer is asking for some things that you'd rather not make concessions for. But again, that 2 weeks is a meaningful amount of time, especially as Ryan is describing. There's other things going on, perhaps if you're trying to purchase your upcoming home. You don't necessarily have time to say, see you later, I'm going to accept this other offer. and hope that the seller on my purchase side will allow an extra 2-3 weeks for closing, because they're feeling the same thing. So you can be all arrogant as a seller, thinking it's a seller's market, but there's always just going to be inherent things within the process that are going against you. And time is something, you never get more time, right?
Yeah, the idea is to win the war, not the battle sometimes.
Absolutely.
But you end up writing these letters. You end up saying that, we want a GFI or we want this and that. I mean, how do you decide what you're going to ask for?
I don't.
Okay, come on, expel. Don't just leave it at that. Give me more.
Right.
What do you mean
So,
you don't?
Listen, I don't make any decisions.
Okay.
I don't make any decisions. The only decisions I make are what advice I'm going to give the client so that they can make a decision. And this is a common,
me.
it's a common thread that
Yeah.
we've talked about ever since I walked into the studio for the first time.
Yeah.
And I tell my clients, every one of my clients is made aware, look, I'm not driving the bus here. I'm strictly in an advisory role. I'll give you the best advice that I think I can give, and then it'll be up to you. If I give you a certain advice and you say, I appreciate that advice, but I'd like to approach it a different way, we're going to approach it your way, unless it's unethical or illegal. And very few clients are trying to test my ethical limits or my limits on breaking the law. So,
Joey, do you get involved with leverage that a client has?
In terms of getting under contract, yeah. But I mean, once you're under contract, I'm really just getting the loan done, right? The only leverage I really get to provide is essentially, I hate to sound cocky, but it's me and then I close, right? But once you're under contract on my
think
end,
mortgage brokers are commodities.
well, let me
Yeah.
jump in here. As the process plays out, yes, absolutely, you can influence on during the point in time when if there is a multiple offer situation.
My client's more attractive.
You can influence by calling the listing agent, explaining, hey, this is, a paper, it's an 80-20, this thing is going to be a breeze and I'm on it. But as that process plays out, having a lender who is just on it, and you can tell that they're moving the process forward at each juncture, and they're giving you regular updates, and even in between those regular updates, you're contacting them and they're responding and giving you good information. Joey, that may not pull levers in the strictest sense that we're going to get something from that, but it definitely buys you, if there's a hiccup, it buys you as a buyer some grace from a seller saying, hey, we need 3 days, to extension.
They're a more attractive buyer, without a doubt.
So that gives you leverage to get to the closing table in some instances.
Yeah, and as a listing agent, when I talk to a lender, and they are not only knowledgeable, but they're very transparent. Like, I hate when I talk to a lender and they say, "Oh, I can't tell you that," or "I can't." I get that all the time, and I'm like, well.
What would you ask them that they would even think about answering?
Perfect example is
you ask them for their social security number.
Ask them for,
which is reasonable.
Have them name their firstborn after me. It's not. I'm
Both
not.
of you get serious.
I would say, like, the one thing I'll ask, if it's like let's say it's like a low down payment loan, I'll ask the loan officer, like, well, do they have the ability to put down more if needed? And I've had some loan officers say, well, I can't disclose that. I can't tell you that. And you don't need to say an exact dollar amount. I don't need to know their whole financials, positioning. But if you tell me, they have a nice healthy reserve. If they need to put down 10% or 20%, they can. They just would rather stay liquid and hold on to cash. Like, that's all you need to say.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell me, here's their retirement account numbers and so on and so forth.
So, for example, Joey, let me just ask you. So if you say, for example, we're writing a loan and it was 0% down. I don't know what kind of loans offer 0% down, but
Oh my God, this is a shill going right here.
if you were to talk to a
2006 all over again.
if you're going to talk to a listing agent about this 0% down loan, and they're kind of hemming and hawing about it because they don't like that number, give me some reasons why Joey Matthews, the VA loan nerd, would give to a listing agent to tell them that this is actually rock solid.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the big things about VA loans that's heavily misunderstood is 0% down doesn't mean you don't have assets, right? The average borrower has the assets to put at least 10% down. I know for myself, I've never put money down in a house. I never will. I like to keep my money in a place where it's going to appreciate and I have access to it, right? I mean, my home is going to appreciate, but the only way to access those funds is through refinancing, through getting a home equity line of credit, through selling it.
You want to remain liquid, right?
Yeah, I love staying liquid. I love my money making money. And then I can buy more investment properties. I could do like a whole mess of things. So if I have the ability to put 0% down, I'd be crazy not to, in my opinion, right? And I like my opinion. But again,
quit beating around the bush.
Like I have a client right now. He's doing a VA loan with a appraisal gap waiver, which we had to exercise because we all knew he was buying way over market, right? But they love the house, they love the school. They could afford it, so they were putting $130K down with a $130K appraisal gap waiver. And people say, "Oh, you can't do that because the amendatory clause, federal law." What people don't talk about, and this drives me insane, and you can call the RLC legal department about this. The VA.
What is the RLC, Joey? I'm sorry.
Regional Loan Center. The VA
I know you
RLC
hate it when I do that.
Regional Loan Center. It's the Regional Loan Center in Chicagoland. It's in St. Paul.
You have to understand that Joe.
We're railroading him.
Listen, Joey he's the VA loan nerd for a reason, and as I never served, and we very much appreciate your service, Joey. But if I'm not mistaken, there are many acronyms in the service.
Yeah, PDQ, XYZ. I remember those acronyms. But anyway, Joey, we interrupted you. I apologize.
So it's okay that he's so acronym heavy. Give him a break.
Anyway, so people think this VA amendatory clause is this get out of jail free card, and you can't offer an appraisal gap waiver when it's not true, right? So in the situation that my client decided to back out, their VA their earnest money would be lost. The amendatory clause is not going to protect them against the contract that they signed. The VA will not get involved in a legal dispute. They will expect you to honor the contract you signed. And it drives me insane.
I got Joey triggered. Remember this for future shows.
Lack of education. I swear to God, I'm gonna one day be able to teach everybody everything about the VA loan. Well, not everything, because I'm learning every day too, but still a lot more than they know now.
We're gonna. What
were we talking about?
We're gonna push.
I blacked out.
No, we're gonna push that information out. The point was that what Ryan was saying is when he talks to a mortgage broker as a listing agent, what are the kinds of things that he wants to hear from a mortgage broker that is going to give him reassurance, because ultimately we're talking about what kind of influence can a mortgage broker have after the contract is signed. And that influence is, look, Joey, where the lines are that you can't cross as far as personal information
disclosure.
You can and can't give out to and really anyone other than the buyer without the buyer's consent. But you can have conversations with a listing agent, with the seller's lawyer. I regularly, if I get 2 or 3 mortgage contingency extension requests, I'll call that mortgage broker even if I'm on the seller side, and I'll be like, "What's up? Give me some assurance that I can take back to my seller that says, hey, this buyer's solid. It's just there's this, that, and the other thing that need to be those boxes need to be checked, and it's taking some time." And it could be, hey, we're still waiting on this document from the condo association, or we're still waiting on we've got to get the appraisal approved after this repair was made. And easy enough. These are not heavy disclosures that I'm going to be like, wow, that guy really had a lot to say about that buyer. But it's leverage you gain to have a seller not panic, at at worst, and perhaps save a deal from going way off the rails and possibly getting killed by giving that reassurance.
How do you explain that, though, Ryan? How do you let somebody know how much leverage they have? In other words, is it a buyer or seller's market? And how do you find out how many other people are bidding on this property with your buyer, your client?
Well, if I'm representing the buyer, I'll ask the listing agent. And some listing agents, it drives me nuts. And it's one of the many things that frustrates me about the industry is that you'll get some listing agents that won't disclose it. They'll just say we have multiple offers. It's like, well, okay, great. Are we talking, 2, 3, 20? And when I'm a listing agent, I had an estate sale in Des Plaines a few years ago, and we had 48 offers. And I told people, I was like, because I had people, calling me and emailing me, hey, we want to submit an offer. I was like, well, we have 40 so far. I'm like, so unless you're coming in way above asking price, you're a cash buyer. I'm like, I honestly wouldn't waste the time to type it out. And but that is certainly the best way to find out. And you can, one way that's not, it's not scientific by any stretch of the imagination, but if that listing, and this is another thing that drives me nuts about our industry, is we have a tool that we use on the MLS to book showings called Showing Time, and some listing agents, for some weird reason, don't use it, but the ones that do, you can look on there and see how many. It won't tell you the exact showing request amounts, but you can look at the calendar, and if it's pretty blocked off, that they've had a lot of showings on it. And also as a real estate agent, if it's a well-priced home in a good area that shows well, that there's a lot of activity on it. It's like common knowledge if you know what you're doing.
Isn't Showing Time owned by Zillow, if I'm not mistaken?
It is. It is. Yeah.
We gotta be careful about those guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Naughties.
Hey, I got a question for you, Ryan. So I know you've represented a lot of sellers, and these days there's the multiple offer situation is sort of a common thing, as opposed to 2011 when an offer was like yes,
right.
But it occurs to me that other than price, and there's a few more things that you can kind of move the dials around, but there's not a whole lot you can do to differentiate yourself as a buyer in these situations. Like, how does that analysis go down? Do you do like a spreadsheet, or
Yeah, I've done when I like that
the 48
deal,
offers.
Yeah, that deal in Des Plaines, and I sold my cousin's house a few years ago, and we had, I think, like 30 offers. Yeah, it's all on an Excel spreadsheet, and you just put the deal points on there and then I make my recommendations. I say, okay, this is a stronger buyer. These are like the top 3 we should consider. But on the buyer side, obviously price is going to be the most important factor for a seller, but also look at things like offering a free lease back. Like I've done that to win a deal, because hey, that buyer or that seller might be buying and they don't want to have to close on their sale and their purchase and move all their furniture the same day. You can offer like a free 2-week lease back or 3-week or whatever the case may be, just to differentiate yourself and to incentivize the seller to go with your offer.
Now, are you going to call the listing agent to kind of find certain things out, like, hey, what kind of closing date are y'all looking for? Would a lease back be attractive? Is that, are you going to do that before you submit the offer, or you just kind of throw it out there?
No, I always ask, especially if it's a multiple offer situation. You just have to have that conversation. And as a listing agent, I always give some sort of preferential treatment to the agent that does reach out and has that conversation. I always say there's like an inverse relationship between how annoying an agent is with how bad their offer is going to be. Because I've had multiple offer situations where I've had an agent submit their offer and then they're bothering me every 15 minutes like about a response. I'm like, well, we have highest and best on such and such date. So you already know that. And your offer is the weakest one that we have. It's just, so yeah, having those conversations, I always say selling a house is nothing more than a couple thousand conversations. And that's one that you have to have.
Yeah, that leads me, I guess, to another question. And I don't mean to shut everyone else out here.
No, you're doing good run.
But
We do have to go around the horn soon.
Sorry. God. No, but I guess that leads me to, the conclusion, more or less, that the name of the agent is also going to be a lever that can be pulled. If it's someone who you don't know, or if it's someone that you know and you're like, oh god, that one, that even if their offer is like up there, toward the top 3, it sounds to me like they're going to be sort of chucked, in the bin, more or less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. If I know that agent and I can pull up their stats, and I can usually tell just by talking to an agent if this is like their first deal or not. But certainly that agent's reputation and their track record certainly is a factor.
Listen up out there, consumers. Agents are not a commodity, especially in a competitive market.
No, not at all.
Let's go around the horn.
Sounds good. You lead.
So my name is Patrick
that, huh, Joe?
Loftus. I am a real estate lawyer. Yeah, that's right. I jumped the gun. And we're broadcasting not live, but taped on WCPT, where facts matter. We love that radio station. You can find me on social media. Find me and follow me and, enjoy my daily content. I am on Instagram at Loftus_law. I'm also on TikTok at LoftusLaw. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, fine, you can do that too. But, just search my name. I don't know. Who cares? Ryan, tell us about you.
So my name is Ryan Mckane. I'm with Mint Properties, and that's
Why Mint Property? How'd you come up with that name?
It's a long story, but
right.
we when we formed our group, we were looking at a couple different names, and that was there. I have 2 business partners, Patrick Dodd and Raymond Melencio, and that was really the only name that we could all 3 agree on. And it's Mint with a Y, MYNT Properties, and you can find me on Instagram at RPM Chicago, and I'm not affiliated with the restaurants. I had the initials first, so RPM Chicago, and then Mint, MYNT Properties is also our Instagram handle, and then we're on Facebook and all the other social media.
And what's your phone number again?
708-668-6613.
For some reason, he's always posting videos of like his spaghetti with ketchup sauce. It's, I don't know what he's trying to do to those people at RPM.
Follow me for more recipes.
Gotcha.
Charlie,
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, Joey. If you don't mind saving me here. Oh, no, I'm running. Okay, you're in charge of this. Go ahead.
Joey, tell us about you and your business, and how do we get a hold of you?
I think they're making fun of me.
A little bit.
You can find me at thevaloannerd.com. They call me Joey Matthews, the VA Loan Nerd. I call me Joey Matthews, the VA Loan Nerd. You can find me on social media as at the VA Loan Nerd on all of them, except for LinkedIn, which no one uses because LinkedIn is a waste of time.
Quit beating around the bush. Really, how do you feel?
235-2405.
One more time.
Or email me at show@thehomebuyer'shour.com.
Yeah.
What's your phone number again, Joey? I talked over you.
Oh, why? It's 630-235-2405, Charlie.
Thank you so much.
I kind of hate LinkedIn too, but it's a necessary evil. Charlie Bellefontaine, tell us about you, your business, and say hi to someone that you love.
I'm going to say hi to my lovely bride, who probably turned this off by now. But our phone number is 312-544-9180. Repeating, 312-544-9180. What did I say? 544-9180. That's
Did
what
we
it
just
is.
have a senior moment, Charlie?
We did. It's,
He's
this
so-
is where all of you guys start yelling out boomer.
He's so thrown off with me taking his job.
Not true at all. I
do
just
that
can't
again.
remember anything.
You can do the last around the horn.
Nope.
It's fine.
It's all you now. I'm going to be a little baby. So
Don't
our business
you?
name is
Yeah,
Chicagoland Home Inspectors.
Let's go.
Our website is www.thehomeinspectors.com, and that's plural ORS, and it is a .com. We also train home inspectors. So if you're interested in getting into the business, We own the school, Home Inspection University of Illinois. We also partner up with a bunch of community colleges across the state. And I actually get very heavily involved in the Illinois Association of Home Inspectors. And I'm our secondary lobbyist when we start dealing with the idea of PR on this stuff. I actually really love what I do. I've been doing it for over 30 years in this home inspection business. And I'm very proud to be with the three of you in this room right now.
Same.
Likewise.
It is, because I value every one of you guys for just taking a leadership role.
And Joey, even
And
though
Joey.
he's, over there.
Oh man.
No, I think the world of Joey. It's just that when people take this job seriously and you find somebody that stands out above everybody else, especially since home inspectors as a group, we got a bad reputation. And Ryan, I think real estate brokers also have a pretty bad reputation.
Yeah, we're right there with used car salesmen.
I think we
Lawyers.
are as well.
Lawyers are sterling. No one thinks anything bad about lawyers.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Everyone loves the mortgage guy.
That I know. That is a fact. And I haven't heard one catfish say anything bad about attorneys.
No.
So, but those are scum-sucking bottom feeders, or are they fish? I keep forgetting, which is which. But anyway, that joke I knew about 40 years ago, and I still remember that today. I can't
What do you
tell
call
new one.
10,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean?
Oh, boy, that's horrible,
A
but I
good
know
start.
it's a good start. Yeah. Unbelievable. So, yeah, Joey, we were talking about making clients, and I really like this subject, making clients valuable. And, I mean, life is a competition, right? And Ryan helped me out on this one. Especially, right now, is it a buyer's market or seller's market?
I would say it really all depends, but overall, I would say it's a seller's market.
And when you say by depends, are you talking about the micro markets in the area?
Correct. If you're
Okay.
talking about the loop, that's a buyer's market all day long. If you're talking about a single family home in Lincoln Park, Jefferson Park, or wherever the case may be, pretty much any single family home at this point, it's definitely a seller's market.
Okay. And now let's say we're in a seller's market, and let's say you are working with a buyer. What do you do to make your client more attractive?
When I'm dealing with them, I always set the expectation up front. I just say, hey, look, this is a seller's market. It's highly competitive. So we need to put our best foot forward when presenting an offer. So, you have to, you just have to educate them and say, okay, when it comes to inspection, we have to be reasonable. And if possible, you say we can purchase the home as is, and everybody gets scared with the as is, but you just tell them that doesn't mean you're not having an inspection. It means that, it's kind of like a gentleman's agreement that we're not going to nickel and dime you on the inspection request, but also have that pre-approval ready, because I've had some buyers that want to go out and look at properties and they haven't even talked to a mortgage broker yet. So
Okay, hold on. That bedazzles me.
Yeah.
You take somebody and show them properties without pre-approval?
I don't.
Wait, bedazzle is that thing where you put the little glamour things in your shoes,
For
right?
your-
Are you befuddled?
Befuddled. That's like a better word. Another senior moment.
Got to
two in a
bring
row.
in a jean jacket with like a giant dragon on the back with bedazzled. But
I'm getting that now.
but no, believe it or not, there are a lot of people out there that just want to go out and look at properties and they don't have a pre-approval order. I mean, I won't take them out, but I might show them one or two places just so they get an idea, but I'm not, spending too much time on that. But certainly having them talk to a mortgage broker, and more importantly, having them talk to a mortgage broker that has a great reputation in our market, because there's I won't give exact names, but there's a lot of lenders out there, online lenders, that nobody in the market trusts.
Hey, watch this. This is awesome. Joey, would you like to give some names of mortgage companies that people don't trust?
Right. If you're going to be coming to me with a pre-approval from Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, USAA, Navy Federal, you want me to keep going?
No, you're
Yeah.
good. Sorry, Ryan. I got Joey to speak for you there.
Yeah,
100% right.
And that's like a big common mistake, because a lot of people think, well, my checking and savings accounts are at Bank of America, I should get my pre-approval from them. And I always tell people the big banks should not be in the mortgage business. business. They are the worst. Nobody likes working with them. Listing agents don't like working with them. And so you're better off going to a mortgage broker who has a good reputation in our market.
It's funny you say that, because in 1989, when I went to go buy my first house, I got all my documents that I thought I would need, and I put them all in a folder, and everything was all neatly packaged. And I went to Bank of America, because that's who I banked with. And I talked to the loan person. He says, yeah, I don't think we could help you. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I had a full-time job. I've been working there for a while. Granted, I never owned a house before. Credit rating was good and things like that. I'm not overextending myself. And then I go to a mortgage broker, and then it was snap of a finger. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. It's an understandable misconception, right? Because when you think about the word broker, the thing that comes to mind is a middleman, right? So there's got to be a markup, and so if I go right to the bank, I'm gonna eliminate that markup, and that misconception is, that idea is wrong. It's just straight up wrong, because the bank isn't going to give you any different interest rate than a mortgage broker will give you. The difference that you have with a mortgage broker is that, for the most part, I know when I get to page 13 on the contract and I see certain names, I go, we're good. I see Joey Matthews, the VA loan there at the bottom left on page 13. I'm like, shh, I got no worries. I've checked one box about things I don't have to worry about, and that makes a difference. When we talked about the multiple offers and how you're evaluating it, I'm sure if you've got the top three and you see they're largely similar and almost indistinguishable, if you've got a broker that you trust on the other side, and a real estate broker that you trust on the other side, and a mortgage broker that you trust on the other side, that could be the difference between that person's buying the house or sorry.
Absolutely.
Joey, anything to add on that? Me with my ADD, I usually interrupt you when I shouldn't.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's reputation. Wise home inspector I know once said that to me.
Yeah, I think I know that guy.
Yeah.
That's like the most important thing when it comes to a professional.
Real
How do you
Shakespeare
get that?
fan, that one.
Yeah, maybe I stole it. Who knows? Or maybe he stole it from me.
Maybe,
all right?
Maybe Shakespeare is plagiarizing.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and get an attorney to go ahead and sue that guy.
You should.
Because I'm sure that I coined that and phrased that phrase first. So
I think so.
I don't know. But Ryan, all these Irish guys in the room here just throwing me for a loop and that. Ryan, again, I really like this conversation about, making our clients valuable and stuff like that. But on the same note, a lot of people think that real estate brokers are commodities. And how do you explain to somebody when you're talking to them, if you don't have anything else, how do you tell them in about 30 seconds to a minute why you're valuable, without sounding like corny, hokey BS?
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of like you always bet the jockey, not the horse. Yes, there's millions of realtors out there.
I thought I was the only one who did that.
But no, it's really just conveying trust and just letting them know that you will be honest with them, and that you're coming from a standpoint of an advisor and not a salesperson. It doesn't matter to me what home you buy. And in fact, I'm working with a couple buyers right now, and I'll tell them, just because your pre-approval letter says you can afford a $400,000 house doesn't mean I'm going to sell you that. I would much rather you buy something under your budget than maxing out your budget, because just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should. It's so it's just letting people know that you're going to be honest with them, that they can trust you, and that's really it. Because will tell people flat out, I will talk you out of buying more homes than I will ever talk you to buying into. And I always think, because I mostly work with sellers, I always think about the resale. And I know that you think this is going to be your forever home. I know statistically that it's not. You're going to probably sell it in the next 4 to 5 years. So I want you to buy smart, buy right. And that way, when you turn around to sell, you're not going to have an issue selling. If you buy something that is unique or quirky in real estate terms. That just means that it's going to be tough to sell, and I don't want you to be in a position where you're going to have difficulty walking away and exiting the home. So it's really just about being honest and trustworthy.
It's funny you say that. I
unique or
just did
quirky.
a Zoom yesterday with a client that had 130 issues in the report.
Mm-hmm.
Normally we average around 70, and I try to explain to people what's normal. You guys mentioned GFIs and stuff like that, and I shrug my shoulders at him because we're looking at $25 and a handyman to get something like that
Right.
fixed, right? It's simple. And make the problems go away. It's like we don't have to fight every single little fight. But this real estate broker told the client that they think they should walk away from the house based on the amount of items that were going on there. And the client was very nervous about
Based
it.
on the
too.
amount,
Based on the quantity
I
of
feel like
items.
that's
And
not the metric.
yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, everything could be fixed, but I still like to let people know what our average is when I start these calls, because, well, Ryan, please help me. Sometimes people see, well, at least my reports, and then they're like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah.
What's going on here? What's happening? This house is a POS, and I gotta go. And stuff like that. I'm looking at Devin to see if POS is a bad word. I hope it's not, because I
Point
just
of
said it
sale.
twice. I got a thumbs up.
Point of sale.
Point of sale,
Yeah,
exactly.
there you go.
So, I mean, setting those expectations and getting to the point, say, hey, this is normal,
Right.
I think is helpful to our clients.
No, absolutely. Because when we get the inspection report, I always look at it, and I'll tell people, this is what's reasonable. This is normal. This is just, wear and tear, normal wear and tear. If it is something that is significant that I feel like it's worth killing the deal over, I'll tell people, you should probably walk away from this house. But most things can be fixed, and
Everything could be fixed.
Yeah, everything can be fixed, and depending on, it also depends on who the home inspector is too, because I know there are home inspectors that they'll try to make a burned out light bulb sound like it's going to burn the house down. So it
won't necessarily burn the house down, but all the children might die. All right, let's get to real here. I know, right?
But yeah, it's
All right, real estate agents, don't use our company.
Listen, if the light bulb's up high, they could be on the ladder, they could fall, they could break their neck. I mean, this is a major issue.
And death can occur.
Breaking your neck is
Everything
a major
should always
deal.
end, and you can die.
Yeah.
So, and you're right. So there's always the exaggeration, and I guess that's the real thing, because sometimes I get somebody who's not educated in building construction, who's also a real estate broker, all right? And then all of a sudden, I might be talking about holes in heat exchangers and high combustion readings, and Joey, back me up on this, because I know your house had this when we did it. And we, I think that's serious. It's $4,000 per furnace, that comes in there. And it's a lot of money, $8,000, I think. You know? You
I'd
tell
say
me,
so.
Good.
Yeah.
We're all on the same page with that. And really, everything always comes down to how much is it going to cost, how severe is it, and who's going to pay for it.
Right.
All right. Those are really the three things. And you should always start with how severe is it.
I would add something else, though, too,
Yeah.
and this has come up from time to time, and that is, how good of a deal are you getting?
And that's where I was going with the leverage.
Yeah, so if I've had situations where I talk to the real estate broker, and also talk to the client, and it's like, there's 3, 4, 5 things we could probably justify, let's say, a $2,500 credit, and the broker will say, Let's be conservative on this one, because I've priced everything out and we're a good 25K under market on this one. We don't want to lose this one. And you go, okay, all right. So let's not worry about our leverage.
Those are the words that I share with my client. There's too many things that I don't know. I don't know how hot the market is. I don't know the value of this home. I don't know what you paid for it. I don't know what the comparative market analysis are.
Right.
Everything else that comes in here. There's just too many things that I don't know. All I know is we got a problem.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why I was asking earlier on about how much leverage or how does the client have. And quite frankly, I'm going to go.
Charlie,
I'm going to go realtor bashing real quick.
Can I borrow your soapbox?
Yeah.
Do you
All
mind?
right. No, I'm just going to shut up and sit in the back. Go to it, guys.
Listen. What?
By the way, you got 5 minutes.
Well, of course I do, because this is when I'm really get going. That's why we need to add a second hour to the home buyers hour. It should be the home buyers 2 hours. Look, One of my biggest pet peeves, one of my biggest, well, let's just say pet peeves. I can go in other directions and I can get myself in trouble. Is the fact that I feel like there's not enough communication between lawyers and real estate brokers.
Yeah.
The number of times that conversation I described a moment ago, where I talked about, after talking to the client, also talking to the real estate broker and getting that insight, I feel that happens just far too infrequently, where the attorney talks to the buyer client and that conversation exists in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And then a letter comes over to me and I'm looking at it and I go, something ain't right about this letter. And as I'm ready to send it along, I like to get some context from my broker. I go, hey, they're asking for $10,000 worth of stuff, and this list doesn't. This is a $500 list. What's going on? And then I find out that there was a $10,000 delta between what the buyer wanted to pay and what the seller's bottom line was. Yeah. And you go, oh, okay, all right. That insight is so important, because when I pass that letter on to my seller client, I'm going to include some context. I'm going to say, look, you're going to see this letter and it's going to make you unhappy. And the reason it's going to make you unhappy is because it looks like they're trying to renegotiate the client contract, because they are. All right, because they got bad advice from their lawyer. Their lawyer didn't talk to the real estate broker, and all that lawyer did, probably that lawyer's paralegal or legal assistant did, was hear from the client that they want a $10,000 credit. And they threw it in the letter, didn't give any thought to it. They just tossed this turd sandwich onto my lap, and now I've got to mitigate the damage that they unwittingly were about to cause. And these are the kinds of things that I'm on the soapbox, right? Because
it's emotional.
We need to be, I said yesterday, I did a little presentation for a group of real estate brokers, and one of the things I led off with is real estate is a team sport. And if you don't view the people on your side of the transaction as teammates, I want to be, feeding dimes to my real estate broker. I want them doing the same to me, feeding dimes, assists. It's just, if we all in this business took a little more time to communicate with each other and make sure that the details are shared amongst the group, even if it's not a phone call, even if it's in a short email. Hey, there's the 3 things you need to know. This business would be a lot easier.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree.
I wish I had more real estate agents that were able to explain the word leverage and how much leverage their client has. And it's like I don't want to step on those toes.
Yeah, and
it's not my job, and I'm just too ignorant.
And I know we're short on time, but something I always do when we do get the inspection report is, I will talk to the lawyer and say, we don't really have a lot of leverage in this situation. We need to, dial back some of these requests. And I'll tell the attorney, please reiterate that, and then we'll all get on a call, me, my attorney, and the buyers. And that way, because realtors have a bad reputation overall.
Sorry.
The words just mean more and hold more weight when they come from the attorney. So
I value you, Ryan. Give us your contact information because we are running out of time.
Sure. My name is Ryan Mckane. My cell phone number is 708-668-6613, and RPM Chicago and Mint, MYNT Properties on all the socials.
Or look for a lime green car driving around
That's
town.
right.
And then you'll end up seeing Ryan. Patrick, please.
Patrick Loftus Law, real estate lawyer. If you're buying or selling a house, I'm your guy. Find me on the social media channels, Insta Loftus_law, TikTok at Loftus Law.
And Joey?
Why, you can call or text me at 630-235-2405. Find me at thevaloannerd.com or across all social media as at the VA Loan Nerd.
And again, my name is Charlie Belfontaine. Thank you for listening. My phone number is 312-544-9180. If you click on option 3, this is a secret, it'll send you right to my cell phone. Please don't do that at midnight. And I want to give a special thank you to Devin Tingle. He's our producer that makes everything sound good. And again, my name is Charlie, and